So I'm just back from being away for just over 2 weeks on holiday. Who wants to have a sneak peek at what's happened in the conservatory whilst I've been away? Stick around with me and let's have a look. Hi, my name is Memo, this is my channel, Houseplantygoodness, and essentially it's a place where I like to geek out about my big passion. You might be able to see it behind me, it's tropical houseplants. So yes, apologies for the slightly disheveled look today, but I literally landed back in the UK yesterday afternoonish and had a quick peek in here, but haven't really done too much just yet. I am about to go through an epic checking and possibly watering situation in the conservatory. So before I do all of that, I thought I'd take you around and show you the realities of what it's like to come back the day of or the day after coming back from being away and having the plants taken care of by a wonderful individual. No hate in the comments if there's any issues. They did a great job. Everything is pretty much still alive, which is all I could ever hope for when I'm away for such a long time with some of my more finicky plants. So I'll pick you up in just a moment and show you around, and we can kind of talk through things that I've learned, things that I might do differently, things that I know have worked in previous years, maybe didn't work this year, and we can take it from there. Also, a quick apology for anybody that was waiting for a video this past Sunday. This is Sunday that I'm filming now. This would have been, a video would have been going out today, which will be going out the week that you're going to be getting this. I'm hoping this is going to be your Thursday video, and on Sunday you will finally be getting really late the August repot, because I'd planned to edit that whilst I was away and upload it. However, that was, yeah, like the last day or two before I left, I kind of massively underestimated quite how many things I had to do, and I got about 5 to 10 minutes into an edit of an over an hour long video, and I'm just like, this realistically isn't going to happen. I'd rather bring out something nice for you to see rather than kind of rush job and then it just isn't great. So yes, enough prattling for me. Let me pick you up and I will show you around and we can see together what things might need a bit of assistance. Okay, and I've got you on the handheld gimbal so I can kind of show you around properly. Now, before I dive into kind of what the plants are all looking like, so you can kind of see some of them behind me and I can kind of take you around, a quick refresher for the people that maybe haven't been here for that long on how I kind of handle my going away and kind of what the plan is with some of these plants. So I kind of, because my real job is doing web design and digital marketing, so I've created a very busted looking website that I kind of update, and it has all my different shelves with numbers on them, and so that the people that, because it could be different people each time that are going to be watering my plants, so that they know which shelf it is and also which level of the shelf it is. And I usually, because it's easier for people that are not planty people, I usually just take pictures of each shelf showing the pots, and I kind of have arrows that point towards which pot needs to be watered. And then by day when I'm away, because I know roughly when all my plants need to be watered, I'll kind of group them together and say, okay, on the 2nd of the month, water these. On the 3rd of the month, water these. So then it becomes a bit easier. Either they don't need to water every day, or if they do need to water every day, the stuff that might be on one day, there might be only 2 or 3 plants to water, but maybe on the weekend when the people that are caring for my plants have a bit more time, I'll put more on for them. And things happen. I'm not perfect when I'm setting these things up. People that have been here around for a while, you can already see some browning there. We're going to see quite a bit of browning. There's been years in the past where I have missed plants, like the Piper. I'm just looking at it now. It's gone. Oh, yeah. Yep. One of them is still alive. The replacement from last time when the first one died is still going strong. It's fine. Right. But yes. So, and I was expecting some of the brown and crispiness on the leaves I was expecting, because A, the season changed when I went away now. So it went from like relatively warm-ish summery weather to more autumnal. So there's that. But because that was happening, what I did is I reduced the watering whilst I was away. I knew there was a risk on this, but with anything like this, and this is what I would recommend to anybody, it's better to have the people that are caring for your plants, even if you're going away in the summer, to slightly underwater, obviously give them some water, rather than overwater, because the damage from overwatering is a lot harder to bring back in. And it's what people always have said, better to underwater than overwater. So with that being said, let's go and have a look, and I'll show you pretty much everything that is struggling, because everything else that I don't show you is doing okay. So let's start with the brown leaf that is here. This is the Philodendron esmeraldense leaf, and just to put some context to that, you can kind of see here quite how large this leaf was. This was, if I'm not mistaken, yes, one of the oldest leaves on my Philodendron esmeraldense propagation. And actually, before I continue, let me show you something else. That is going to be the carnage that's about to occur with a whole bunch of brown leaves that are going to get dropped on the ground as we go along. But yeah, as I was saying, that I'm not so worried about, because that was one of this oldest leaves. And to be fair, even before I left, I knew that that was going to be struggling. Now, certain other things. So for instance, this is the, let me just go a bit lower. This is the Anthurium esmeraldense, which is looking a bit limp. And I would imagine it's because it just didn't like the fact that it got less water than it was expecting. However, with most Anthuriums, I would expect it to bounce back. Now, let's see, let me show you the Piper rubesioides that I was telling you about. Let me show you the one that's doing well first. So this is the one that pretty much died back entirely. There was like one or two green leaves this time last year, and this is a plant that still goes down much further. I had bought a replacement back then to see if I couldn't revive it, and that was doing well. This is it now. Is any of this salvageable? Probably not. I think this is the problem with Pipers, and I've said this, and I will say this again and again and again. I consider them on par to ferns, or at least what most people say that we need to be doing for ferns. So they need moisture all the time. Not boggy conditions, but moisture all the time. And that was always going to be a risk. Like, I knew if that plant was going to get missed, it was going to die a death really quickly. It has zero tolerances for being underwatered. But I'm looking at a lot of my other Pipers. They've done fine, so I'm okay. And because I've got the rubesioides here, which has got quite a few leaves and it's pretty much touching the ground, what I'm probably just going to end up doing is taking some cuttings from the bottom and just putting them in a pot, or I might just have one less plant to water, which I'm okay with, because that was a duplicate anyway. So a lot of these things, if I've got duplicates, I've got duplicates, great, I don't have to worry about it. Now, let's have a look further up here. So this, is that one of the oldest? No, it's a middle leaf from my Patriciae philodendron, but I can see all the other leaves are doing absolutely fine. This just decided to nope out, and that's absolutely fine. But that's the newest leaf, it's doing fine. I'm not seeing any issues with kind of root rot or anything. You can see here the chia pens, that's still doing okay. There is something that got a bit overwatered, which I wasn't expecting. This, actually, no, I was expecting this to get slightly overwatered, and you can see the water damage there on that leaf, because I've only got so many hands. I'm holding you up with one, and then I'm holding the plant up. That's got a bit of yellowing there on that leaf, but it brought out a new leaf at the very top. You can see it right there. This is the Burley Marks Flame, the Monstera, and I knew that there was going to be a risk with this one, but I didn't want to stress it out too much by underwatering it too much. So I knew that this was probably going to get watered a touch more than it wanted, but it's fine. All I'm going to do with this, and this is the thing that I was going to say, this is kind of the aftercare of coming back to some of these plants, is this one I'm going to let go bone dry now. I know that also risks other things, but I'm going to let this bone dry because I need, if any rot has happened on any rootlets, I need them to desiccate fully. I might even, at the stage where it's fully dry, take it out of the pot and see if I can remove any of the dry and desiccated roots. Do I suggest this all the time? No, that is a bit of a risk that I'm willing to take with this plant because I want to see if they are there and then remove them, because if I leave them on there and then keep watering as normal again and everything is doing fine, there's still going to be a risk of that rot returning, because it's going to be, I think they call it dry rot. So that is one thing that I need to be careful with this. But overall, the plant's fine. I mean, it brought out a new leaf as well. It's fine. And I am slightly salty because I saw recently, even in my garden center, I think even like Grow Tropicals, where I bought this from, have now got much larger specimens. So I didn't have to start with quite such a juvenile plant, and it wasn't ridiculously priced, nowhere near what it would have been a few years back. So here's what it is. But it's doing okay, and I didn't get the bigger plant. If this dies off and I can still get a bigger plant, I would probably get a bigger plant next time. And then you can see, actually, if I tilt you down ever so slightly, there's still a yellow leaf, but that's at the very bottom of the chia pens. Remember the chia pens that I was talking about before? That's still fine. So let's have a look. So yes, crispy here. So this is the Anthurium pinklei, and I think this has been watered. This is coming up as dryness, but at the same time, am I seeing growth? I'm seeing growth. These are new leaves here. There's a new leaf there that's all green. There's an inflorescence that's coming in that I need to deal with and just chop it back. There's a new leaf coming in. This has been struggling for a while, and I think this might be root rot, but I'm not entirely sure. I think it's fine, actually. It's just some of the oldest leaves that are dying off. And to be fair, these were on their way out anyway. So there was 2-3 leaves there, but they were pretty much yellow before I left. So the fact that they've just crisped up and done now, absolutely fine. There is one more little brown leaf here. Let me see if I can take it off because it's also covered in mealybugs. So this is from my Anthurium that I got sold as a metallicum. It really isn't. I mean, if you see, can you see the mealybugs on this? It's everywhere. That's had it for a while. It didn't really cause it too many issues. Let me just get rid of the petiole as well, because that dropped down. But that entire plant is fine. Absolutely fine. Apologies if this is going to be a bit of a weird and jangly video and a bit kind of handheld and shaky, because this is a nice simple video that I think is of value, because a lot of people always ask me, what do I do when I come back and how do I deal with plants if they're struggling? So this is for all of the people that have been asking for that for a while. I'm also not going to lie, it's a relatively easy video for me to film before I probably need to spend the next 5 to 6 hours doing what I said at the beginning of the video, which is I'm going to go around, I'm not going to water everything because I've obviously got my plant care app, and I think I've done an entire video. I'll think if I can link it at the top there. I don't know what I would do without it. And that's been since I've been growing my collection, so a minimum of 5 to 6 years now. There was a point where they started charging for the app if you wanted extra features, and I think it was like £5 or £10 for life. I don't know if it's now monthly, basically, but back then I was one of the earlier adopters, and it's just like, oh, it's just a bit expensive. And I'm just sitting there going, I open my plant care app on my phone more than I open even my social media apps, and I'm just sitting there going, you know what, no, worth the money, because I've paid for other apps that I use hardly ever, so fine for me. So that will get updated when I'm around. There's a yellowy leaf here or brown at the very top. You're going to be seeing so many brown leaves. Brown leaf from the Anthurium lancia. All right there. And you can see it's kind of desiccated itself rather than it being rot issue or kind of overwatering, which was what I was going for. Remember what I said at the beginning of the video? I would much rather deal with underwatering and correct that rather than overwatering that could kill the plant instantly. So, or not instantly, but much faster and much more aggressively. But having said that, if I show you at the top above me, let me just scooch you up, all of the orchids, which are much harder to deal with, have survived fine. And talking of orchids, let me show you down here. So Another thing that has done exceptionally well, blue star fern on a mount. Absolutely fine, growing like clappers. Now, this is a specific type of orchid, and you can see some yellowing on here, and I'll explain that just now. So this is the front Chiara after dark, so also called black pearl. This is the one that's supposed to have the black blooms. I can see a lot of really healthy roots in here. You might be able to see them through the pot. This does not worry me in the slightest, mainly because I managed to do some research on this plant to figure out, and this is something that will trip people up with this because it's a kind of pseudobulb type orchid. This loses all of its leaves and it goes down to the bulb every autumn. And there's a lot of websites online, especially when it's informational websites about this plant, going, do not freak out, do not throw away your plant. Your plant is not dead. It does this every year and it regrows the leaves back in the spring. So this does not worry me in the slightest, especially because, as I said, I can see a lot of very, very healthy roots in the growing media, and this is also underneath a very strong grow light. So I'm okay with this, but I'm glad to see that what I was finding online is kind of panning out to be true. It's not flowering size just yet. Let me just put this back, because on my finger I've got the dead carcass, well, the carcass of a dead spider. As you can tell, I have no issues with spiders. But yes, that is also a plant, that orchid is also a plant that will not bloom until it's ready, basically. So it's not a blooming size just yet. However, I've seen online that that is a type of orchid that when it loses its leaves and it goes into autumn, is also the time where it throws out a flower spike. So a lot of the times the pictures that you'll see about that orchid is literally just the pseudobulb and a flower spike without any foliage. So it's around that time of the year. I don't think I'm going to get one this year, but possibly in the next year or the year after that, we'll see. And then we've got the Hoya retusa, my little grassy kind of Hoya. Oh yes, and it's growing. It's doing really, really well. So I'm glad about that. Now, what else is here that I could show you? Ah, so let's see some more crispiness. So this is looking, this could have looked better. I don't know, I think I may be giving this too much light or not enough water. The roots are fine, are they fine? Don't know, I might need to have a check on those roots because they're looking like some of them might have desiccated a bit too much. This is unfortunately the Forgetii. But there is a new leaf that's doing okay, so we shall see. And I don't think I've lost another new leaf, but there is also a brown leaf that you should be able to see there. So before anybody comes for me for this video, where there's a lot of people, usually people that don't watch my channel, what type of content creator are you for plants and you're showing us crispy leaves? I'm the kind of content creator that shows you the reality of growing plants. Sorry to tell you this, sorry to burst your bubble, but if there's other people that are constantly showing you pristine and perfect plants, congratulations, you've got a content creator like what Instagram used to be a couple of years ago, where everything is perfect and everything is fake. Sorry. I will get off my soapbox right now. I think a lot of us these days are much better at being very real with everybody and just kind of going, this is the realities and you're not alone. It is basically what this whole video is about. This shit happens, basically, but it's not the end of the world. There's always solutions around it. There's lessons to be learned. It's fine. And actually, talking about lessons to be learned, let me show you a plant that got a new leaf and is looking spectacular, even with kind of reduced watering. Ta-tas, you might be able to see there. It's hardened off now, so the pinkiness is gone. This is the Philodendron linanii. So that's doing really well. The Peltigerum anthurium is doing really well. It got a new leaf, which is that one, I think. Is it? Yes, it is. Whilst I was away, so that's doing fine. This, and again, this is where I take the wins. This is my Bravuramosa begonia. Every single summer that I've left, and I've left it to be cared for, and the people have done what they were meant to do, I come back and that is entirely dead. Is there a couple of crispy leaves in here? Yes. But by and large, that plant is completely fine. And this is what I mean. I've got my Zara X Michelle that has got a new leaf coming through, and you can kind of see, hopefully there, what that's going to look like. It's fine. I do need to deal with a mealybug that is there. But those are things as well that you need to remember. If you're away and you're the kind of person like me that deals with a lot of your pest management, whilst you're watering, you cannot expect somebody whilst you're away to do that. So bear that in mind, that that is going to be something that you're going to have to address when you come back, because if you're asking somebody to do you a massive favor, just for context in terms of how many plants, you can't also expect them to do your pest management whilst you're away. So just make sure that if you've got anything with pests that are not fully eradicated, that they're away from your other plants so you don't have a bigger problem when you come back. I do not have that luxury. But be aware that when you come back, you're going to need to do some pest management, and it might be substantial, but that is fine. It's part and parcel. Hopefully you are nice and refreshed after a holiday. Unlike me, who has worked the whole time I was out there. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had a good time. I had the weekends off like I would do normally if I was here and working, so I got to see a lot of friends and family, but it was a bit full on, basically, so yes. And for anybody asking, my mum's garden is looking, or like house plants that are balcony plants, basically. They're looking spectacular. She has got a large form, I don't know if they're still calling it large form, Monstera delicioso, absolutely gigantic. She's still growing the crown of thorns to a ginormous size, which I've never been able to grow it comfortably over here, and after trying for 2 or 3 times, I'm giving up at this point, so but it might just be the climate, although I know a lot of people in the Netherlands that grow them very, very successfully, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But overall, the house plants, the balcony plants there are looking great. Because I know some people are going to ask, because everybody would just say, oh, say hi to your mum. I did, and she says hello to everybody as well. She's very excited to get hellos from people. Now, let's talk about stuff that had issues before. And I'm looking at this now because I knew that this had an issue. Still got an issue. So, is that still an issue? Yeah, that is still very much an issue. Not on all leaves anymore, so that is positive, and it's got some new leaves. So, sorry. And let me do that again. Trigger warning for trypophobia. So I'm going to be showing you the ferox. You can kind of see there is still some powdery mildew. It is better. Annoyingly, I saw all of your advice whilst I was in Greece, so I couldn't do anything about it then and there, but I will be trying some of the tips and tricks that everybody's said. And just taking it from there. But this is doing better than I was expecting. There's a lot more leaves now that do not have it. Because my worry when I first got it is a lot of the information online was, oh, make sure that you basically chop back all of the leaves so that it doesn't reinfect everything else. And I would have no leaves at that point. So now it's got a few more green leaves. The other thing that I wanted to check, and I am checking it now, and it might really be struggling. And Renee, I'm really sorry. I don't know whether or not we're going to be able to follow each other's journey on this one, and I knew that this was going to be a risk, and it's an expensive plant as well. But it's still got one leaf. I'm hoping I might be able to revive it. Has it got a root? No, it's got a root. It's fine. This is the last remaining leaf of the Monstera White Monster from Kunzo, basically. So there is a root. It's not rotting, but we shall see, basically. It's lost all of its original leaves. This is the first leaf that it had in my care, so we shall see how it goes. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here that's worth noting. Let me have a look. So the other thing that you might be able to see right here is my Monstera obliqua Peru, and that one is doing really, really, really good, as is the skeleton key. And when I was talking about pipers, let me pan you down. This is the sarmentosum, and hopefully, if it will stay there, these are its blooms. So it's covered in blooms. It seems to be really happy at the moment. So I'm less than worried about that plant. But I think those are the big things that have happened, unless I'm sure I'm going to get screamed at going, you missed the yellow leaf. Oh, actually, let me talk to you about something else really, really quickly, because I know somebody's asked for this, because it's one of their favorite plants. Querumalens, Anthurium querumalens. So, some realities and some hard truths. I'm actually surprised that one leaf that it's got remaining is still there, because it is bone dry and that one needs a lot of watering. So, my experiences with that, semi-hydro, always has a water reservoir, winter or summer. It needs it, and it needs to be constantly moist. I don't know whether or not the roots have desiccated on that, so I might still lose that leaf. The other reality on this, and I cannot stress this enough for the people that like this, and they're always just like, but you growing yours okay, and ours has always struggled. That singular plant is surviving just out of my sheer spite. Because for how much issues it's given me, for a lot of other people would have given up on it. I'm just sitting there going, no, I will not be bitten. I will keep you alive. And it's slowly become one of my favorites as well. I do like it for that reason, because it has been such a challenging plant. But the point I'm trying to make here and underline is that it's possibly one of my most challenging plants. And that should tell you something with the care that I'm giving it in here when other people are trying to replicate it in different conditions as well. At least in my experience, that is not an easy plant. That is one of my most challenging plants, and even anthuriums as a whole. So bear that in mind. But yes, I think I should probably, is there any more that are struggling? I don't think I've lost any plant outright, but there's a couple that have lost quite a few leaves, so I will deal with that. But I do think I need to let you go. I've got a lot of care to get on with. Hopefully this has been useful, entertaining, me kind of ranting a bit more. It's nice to kind of touch base, because I know that you've all had videos from me the whole time I've been away, but I've not been filming the whole time that I've been away. So it feels like I'm catching up with a friend that I haven't spoken to for a long time. So it's great to be back. Really looking forward to what the remainder of this year is going to bring. Any ideas for or topics that you might want to see me do as videos that maybe I haven't covered yet? Do let me know in the comments down below. And by the way, this applies to any of my videos. Anytime you have a thought and going, ooh, I wonder if Memo's done a video on this, or if he'll do a video like this, put it down below. If it's a good topic and I haven't done it already, I will put it on the list. Simple as that. Cool. So I shall let you be. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully I shall see you here soon. And I truly, truly hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.